Hi everyone and welcome back to Rachel's Enchanting Cakes. Now today we're making this super cool handbag cake that you can literally carry like a real handbag. You can do this in any colour that you want. I use really simple techniques. It's actually very easy to cover because we use a panelling technique and it uses quite a lot of cake. So if you've got a lot of people to feed, this is a pretty good option. Great for your portfolio if you sell cakes to your customers, or if you just want to make a very special cake for a loved one, this is the cake to go by. Happy baking, guys. Let's make a start. In the Dinky Doodle Carry Cake Kit, which is what we are using in order to create this beautiful handbag cake, it comes with a basic platform for your cake to go on. There will be two central pieces that go directly through those holes and support the cake and the handle. Start by baking two 10-inch square cakes. This can be any cake of your choice and they want to be roughly 1 inch deep. Take the platform designed to carry the actual cake and place it on your 10-inch square. Now simply cut in half. One of these halves will be smaller than the other. The smaller halves will be placed towards the top of the cake where we're actually carving in so that we carve less cake away. Simply repeat this for your other 10-inch square cakes. So in total, you have 4 slices of cake. Okay, so these are the two larger pieces which will be going directly on the platform, and those smaller ones will be on the top. You want to start with a small one because we're going to be doing this upside down. Place another small slab of cake directly onto there. You can add any fillings to this that you want, but for tutorial purposes, I have chosen not to. I'll show you that part later. And then simply add the other 2 layers that will slightly hang over each side. Make sure these are central. Using ganache or buttercream, simply coat the underside of the cake platform. You then want to flip this and place it directly on top of your cake. Taking the 2 central pieces, slowly push these through and try to keep them so that they are straight. Then simply flip the cake over. I am now going to use these carving templates that also come with this set. Now you can either carve it yourself completely by hand or make up your own templates. Very simple to do. Simply take some baking parchment, go over the template with a pencil and cut it away with some scissors. I am using the template for both the front of the cake and the sides. Start by adding the front template directly to your cake. I do this using some cocktail sticks. Now taking a very sharp knife, simply carve some of the cake away at a time. Just do a little bit at a time using that template as a guide. Repeat this for both sides of the cake. Here I have already added the other template and now we're simply going to be carving away at an angle. Again, repeat this for both sides of the cake, but really do take your time. It doesn't matter if you cut a little bit of cake away, but if you cut away too much and go wrong, it's a bit more difficult to add it back on there. Simply repeat this process for the other side of the cake and neaten it up until you get that perfect bag shape. If you was making this cake for a customer, simply take off each layer and fill them with a buttercream or filling of your choice. But as mentioned earlier in this tutorial, as this is just for tutorial purposes, I am choosing not to do that. You then, once you've added all of your fillings, simply want to crumb coat all of the cake. The crumb coat will act like a natural glue when I add the fondant, but for now I want to place this in the fridge just to allow my buttercream to go lovely and firm. To cover my cake, I am using a panelling technique. So here I have rolled out the colour of my choice in between spaces. This is not a necessity. If you don't have spaces, just judge how thick the fondant is going to be. Then simply press on the fondant, cut off any excess, and repeat this for each side of the cake. So once you have done both sides and smoothed them out, this is what it will look like. We're now going to repeat this process for the front and the back of the cake. So again, we've just rolled out some fondant, place it directly onto the buttercreamed cake, cut off the excess and then smooth out, and repeat this process for both the front and the back of the handbag cake. Now taking your time using some smoothers, just neaten up the fondant. For the top of this cake, I've rolled out 2 pieces of fondant. Now this one's fairly thin and I just want to strip at either side just where the handle will go. This is just going to make sure that none of the buttercream is exposed. Then you will find another template in this actual set. Simply draw this again onto some baking parchment, and on the other piece of fondant I just cut out the template. I find it easier if you add a little bit of Trex vegetable fat first to actually stick it onto the fondant. I then add a quilting effect and gently drape this over the cake and make sure it covers the remaining amount of buttercream. Off camera, I have steamed my cake to get rid of any excess icing sugar. You can just brush this off with a wet brush. I'm now choosing to add some edible pearls to mine using the DK Pearl Applicator. It makes it so much easier and it just adds that perfect finishing touch. I will fast forward this part, but I do decide to add some extra pearls all the way around this part of the handbag. Before we add any decorative fondant accents, I'm using Sweet Stamp by Amy Cake's Love Elements set. And all I have done is taken out the rose, and I'm going to have this on the bottom left-hand side of my handbag. Basically what I'm trying to say is look at the tools and moulds and things that you have in your cake studio, because you can decorate your handbag any way you like and use those tools that you may have not used in a while just to add little embellishments. As you can see here, I have simply added the handle. It just slots in very, very easily, and that comes with the set. I'm now using this Katie Sue zip mould. Now I've found with the moulds, it's very easy if you just grease them first with a small amount of Trex vegetable fat, add a light sprinkling of icing sugar, place your fondant or modelling paste directly into the mould, and you will find that they come away with ease. Once you have removed the zip from the mould, simply add this to the cake with a small amount of edible glue, and then there will be the small separate piece where you would actually pull a zip. Just place that on top. Leave this to set and we will be painting it that lovely silver towards the end of the tutorial. The white flower on the front of the cake is super easy to make. So all I've done, I've taken one of my piping tips just so I can cut out 8 small circles. I then use a cocktail stick to go on the outside of those small circles, just with little dots, because I want it to look a bit like a stitching effect. I fold each small circle in half, and using the stitching tool, I then draw a simple line. I leave them in half and simply stick them on top of each other. And when you open it out, you will have a beautiful flower to stick directly onto your cake. I just add it to the cake with a small amount of edible glue and simply place some of those beautiful pearls directly into the centre. If you use a cocktail stick again, it looks more like a fabric effect. Now it's time to add just a few finishing touches. So where those panels of fondant meet, I'm covering those up with small sausage shapes. If you've got a sugar shaper, this will make it an awful lot more easy. Again, just a small amount of edible glue, and you want a colour that's going to contrast really well with the colour of your cake. So here I'm using white. Now, with that cake tissue mould, there was a zip, and the other one looked a bit more like a buckle. You could use it as part of the zip if you wanted to, but I'm choosing to actually add it as a feature, bang on the front of my cake, just where the quilted effect is. So I've done this the same way I did the zip. I'm going to stick it directly on there with a small amount of edible glue. And then there's just one more thing we need to add. Paint. I'm using a beautiful dark silver rainbow dust metallic paint, and I will show you what the finished product looks like. And there we have it, all finished. You can pick it up. It's super easy, super stylish. You can do your bag in any colour, any design that you want. Just let your imagination run wild. Now, the products I've used in this, I'm going to leave links to just below this YouTube video. I hope I've helped you all again today, and I will be back soon with more new, completely free content. Thank you all for your continued support.